Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your June 2025 reading. My name is Nigel, and you have found alchemy. I don't know if you sat and watched the shuffle, but if you did, you noticed that these cards were already laid out, and the reason for that is because we pulled them from your spring reading. Later this month, by the way, we're going to be having our summer readings coming for the next 3 months, so definitely stay tuned for that. Okay, now I'm going to give you a brief overview of these cards again. Let me see if I can move some of these so you can see it. You do have, overarching this time, the Five of Swords. And, you know, the Five of Swords is usually Venus and Aquarius, but in this deck, it is pure air energy like yourself. And you're going to be called upon to have some mental agility this month. There's conflict, either internal, external, or both. You have snakes, or there's a snake around you or snakes around you. Yeah, definitely. You know, on the lighter note here, you do have the Three of Wands, Mars and Aries energy. So there is something manifesting out of this. So you have this gray card here, but you also have this manifesting energy, and I like that for you. You also have the Nine of Swords. The Three of Wands is Mars and Aries. This is Mars and Gemini. A lot of Martian energy here. Mars and Gemini, Nine of Swords in reverse. If you're going to get this card, get it in reverse. So there will be an end to whatever anxiety you're feeling. Maybe waking up from a nightmare, ultimately. As an overview, you do have the Magician coming in sideways. And like I always tell you here, Aquarius, it is, for me, it's an Aquarian card. For some people, they say it's Virgo, Gemini. You know, it depends how you look at it. But for me, it's usually an Aquarian card. And, you know, you have the Magician coming in sideways. So you're going to have a choice this month on how to manifest, or whether to use the tools that are available to you, whether to turn this card this way or this way. So as we pull more as we see the rest of the cards for the reading, we'll definitely get a clearer picture of it. But I like that. I like the possibility of that. You do have these two cards, which is interesting. You have Celebration and Storm. So on the Celebration card, it says gifts, abundance. So you are being gifted with something this month, but it's coming with something attached to it. And it is some sort of unexpected storm. There is something unexpected that goes on here, especially with the Five of Swords here and the unexpected storm. Definitely something that is attached to this that you may not be expecting, that may not be the most comfortable situation in the world, okay? When we add this up and we break it down, we do get the number 9. We get more Mars energy. Mars is Aries energy, but more importantly, it is the god of war, right? You might be going head to head with someone. You may feel that way. You may feel you're in some sort of a war zone. The war may be going on inside you. So let's see. Let's look at the rest of these cards. You know, before we go on to the cards, let's look at your charms. You do have the letters K, B, Z, and Y. This could be someone's initials. It could be a place that you meet someone at, a place that you have. There is something to do with these initials. Either one of them or all of them will be prevalent by the end of the month. So keep them handy. Definitely could be, and I always say restaurant because somebody did point that out to me once, so it's kind of in my head. But it could be the name of a street. It could be anything like that. It's going to be prevalent / relevant for you. You also have the Three of Swords coming in very prominently here. The Three of Swords is heartbreak. I mean, we know what the Three of Swords is. If you watched any tarot, you know it's Venus and Libra energy. It is pain. Sometimes it is pain to do with love. Many times, but we'll clarify everything with what's on the table here. But you also have the Death card. I mean, the Death charm. The Death charm is like the Death card, right? It is Pluto energy, Scorpion energy. It's death and rebirth. Something is coming to an end, and I can tell you, very certainly that something is also being born. I mean, you could see it in these cards, right? You don't even need to read tarot. You see confusion, you see upset, you see conflict, you see a storm, but then you see celebration, abundance, manifestation, the end of something negative, right? Here you have be brave, and this is coming in reverse. And when the charms come in upside down, it's a little different, right? It's internal. You may not feel that you're brave enough to handle what is to come, but you are. You have that internal strength, that internal bravery that is going to kick in here, Aquarius, for sure. you have the smoke card, and this is number 32 in this deck. And the smoke is usually a warning of some kind of illusion, confusion. Something may not be as it seems, at least initially. Where there's smoke, there's also fire, right? And that Mars energy is very fiery, so keep that in mind as well. You have the Lovers here, and it does pay to note, like I always say during these readings, the card did come in reverse. I do not take these overarching cards in reverse, but I do take note of them when they do. So you have here the Lovers, and this is pure Gemini energy, right? Choices, decisions. It could be a twin flame situation that you're going through here. It could be significant choices. Definitely. When the Lovers comes in reverse, in regards to, let's say, choices, it could mean very difficult choices are on the table, which makes sense with all the other cards we see. It could mean some sort of dissolution between two people as well. So we'll keep that definitely under our hats as we forge forward here. You do have Aries in the first house, and it says self, body, and presence. More Aries energy. There's a lot of Aries energy here on the table, just so you know. And, I have to tell you, as I was shuffling and dealing the cards, something else occurred to me. And usually, I don't always take note of the cards, honestly. I just deal them out unless something really stands out to where I'm like, wow. And something did stand out here, Aquarius. You have the Lovers here, and you have all three decks have the Lovers that came out in this reading. Very important energy for you. Like I said, this could be a Gemini that you are dealing with. This could be something that happens during Gemini season, right? And what's Gemini season? Between May and June, right? You look at those dates for sure. Yeah, I believe that Gemini season ends on May 20th, right? Yeah. So yeah, between now and May 20th. I don't know when you're going to listen to this, but yeah, definitely keep that in mind. And it also could be a very, very, very important month for decisions. All right, so we have self, body, and presence. Your presence, your body may be on the table as far as taking care of yourself during this time. I really do think that's important. You have Sagittarius. This is more fire energy, adventurous, free, philosophical. You may be dealing with someone with Sagittarius in their chart, highly aspected somewhere. But honestly, I see fire on top of fire, and then I see smoke. A lot of fire energy. And like, as we get into these cards here, you'll see it drives it home even more, because look at this. Let's see if I get my pointer here. You have smoke, right? Which is like a certain gray type of thing. And then you have gray here, and then you have gray over here. And then even on this card, a little gray. So there's some sort of definite haze here. And what's interesting is you have, you pulled the Ghost Ship, and the Ghost Ship is not a very typical card that people pull, right? The Ghost Ship asks us, what if? But also, we have to take note of the fact that the structure is there, but nothing is alive on it anymore. So it is definitely moving, but it's moving and it's dead. So something moving through the ocean, moving through water, maybe moving through your emotions, that either needs to be put in its place, its proper burial, or you're acknowledging something. Maybe you're acknowledging it never was. Maybe it never had a crew. It's going to be different for all of you, but I have to tell you, with this card, Spirit is definitely trying to force you to see something. There is something that you have been stubborn about here, Aquarius. There is something that you just didn't want to see, something that you honestly didn't want to deal with, didn't want to look at. But here it is. Spirit is saying you're going to have to face it this month, right? We've pushed it to the limit, and you're going to have to see something. It's very, very strong in your reading here. So moving on to the side, you do have the Vow, and the Vow is number 54 in this deck. So the vow is a promise. So this could be taken two ways. There could have been a promise made between you and someone else that has been broken, for sure. It could be something like that here, Aquarius. But honestly, the vow has other meanings as well. It tells us that our words have intense power. And reciting the vow, and the vow could be anything that is meaningful to you, whatever it may be. It activates something. It activates the pull of something, and it begins the manifestation process. And is this something you're promising yourself? Or is it an outside force that perhaps there was a vow given here? Could be, but it could simply be a warning to be careful that your words and your thoughts do have power to manifest. So kind of choose wisely. I know it's easier said than done here, Aquarius. You have the card of Aquarius, which I always love when this happens during a reading. As you know, my cards fall out by themselves, right? So you have Aquarius here, and that is number 11 in this deck. And, it's obviously a very strong indication that this is indeed an Aquarius reading, whether it's your particular reading or not sure. But keep it in mind, Aquarius, because sometimes unexpected things do happen. And if you listen to this reading fairly early, you might not realize that it's your reading, right? And if it isn't, listen to one of your other placements for sure. It's sometimes my moon placement is very accurate, but I have to tell you, my Mars placement has been very accurate when my sun isn't. So usually what I do is I listen to my sun, and if that doesn't seem to be hitting, I go straight to my Mars. Okay. With that said, on June 9th, we have the asteroid Pallas, or Pallas, depending on how you pronounce it, and it's retrograding in Aquarius. And so over the next few weeks, you're being asked to focus on the greater good. It encourages us to harness like emotional intelligence, and if you're being sucked in emotionally, if something happened and you're being very emotional about it, Spirit is trying to tell you to really pull in the reins on that. Definitely keep your emotions in check. Also on June 9th, we have Venus and Taurus square Pluto and Aquarius. Be careful about biting the head off of someone, right? There could be power struggles between you and someone else, and you could be going head to head. So it's sort of a light warning to really keep that in mind and sort of save it for another day if that's what's happening. On June 29th, you have Mercury and Leo opposite Pluto and Aquarius, and you might feel a rebellious streak that day, right? And there is an intense aspect to it, and it may cause a stalemate. So if you do decide to go head to head on that particular day, you could both be doing this and create a stalemate where you get nowhere. So keep those dates in mind for negotiations, or if you're arguing with someone, or if something's going wrong, to try to avoid those two dates in particular. Keeping in mind also that the Pallas retrograde in Aquarius is over the next few weeks, and it actually is a very good time to hone in on your emotions and keep them in check. Now, these two cards are usually the card of somebody around you that is not sharing this information with you. There is a gaslighter in your midst. It says, I will deliberately manipulate your perception of reality until you are doubting your own experiences. And this comes along with brag. I can't wait to tell you the amazing thing that happened to me. And something tells me these two things are linked. I'm not really sure how. There could be someone that calls to tell you something about their life, brag about themselves, or something like that, the good news in their life, which is great to hear friends in a really good situation. But there's some sort of a gaslight that comes along with this good news. So just be careful of that. You also have here threats, money, life, violence, privacy. There is a threat here on the table. I don't think it's violence. I really don't. I don't see that here in the cards, but there is a threat to something. There's a threat to your peace. And look, there's a manifesting card, just like we talked about in the vow. It says you have the power to manifest what you want by writing your intentions down and taking inspired action to make it happen. For this card to come out, your words have power. So please be careful with them. Please be mindful what you tell yourself, how you speak to yourself. Aquarius, you have lighthouse here, and it says guiding light, symbol of hope, a watchful sentinel. There is hope here on the table. There is some bad news here on the table. I'm not going to lie. There is something negative going on. There is somebody around you that is not, there's something going on. Now, as we get into your tarot, we'll get more into that. But there is something negative going on. That is conflict around you. It is a storm, right? But there is also this lighthouse, this celebration, this manifestation. There is something threatening your peace, but there's also something else going on. So, I can't say it enough. It's here on the table. And here you got this duality dance. It says, seek balance amid the chaos and find the harmony within yourself. Usually when I see the duality dance card, I think of the sign of Gemini. So here it is again, right? The dark side of Gemini is that they can be very manipulative. the dark side of Gemini. The dark side of Aquarius is that, they tend to be, they have this God complex, right? So every sign has a dark side. I'm not putting down Geminis per se. What I'm saying is that because there's some dark cards here, and because this card came out, and Gemini has come out over and over again, I can't help but believe that there is a manipulator in your midst. So be very careful. Be very careful with it, Aquarius. Be very careful with it, especially with this ghost ship, this Three of Swords energy. I mean, I've never seen such a contrast with such great things with this other thing that's going on here in the shadows. So be very mindful of that, Aquarius, definitely. Now let's look at your tarot. Now, as I'm telling everybody, these are your 3 legs for the month. These legs could come out of order, the first leg could be the last leg, and sometimes it comes in order perfectly, right? So I feel the need to say that for every reading in case this is your first time tuning in. But these are the legs of your month. Now, your first leg here, you have a third-party situation. Now, this isn't always third party, but I can't help but think it is. With this Three of Swords here, and you also have another Three of Swords in the upright here. So there's 3 things, 3 people involved in this. Now, does that mean someone cheated on you? It could, sure. But does that mean that there's 3 people involved in this? It doesn't have to be that. It could be anything, but there is a third party. There is something outside this situation that is affecting it for sure. You have the High Priestess. I really like this card for you, Aquarius. It is the card of Pisces. Beautiful rendition as well. I like this artist here. I like the way this artist depicts all these arcana. So you have an acceptance of what actually is and what is not. You feel nothing of value from the outside world. To understand what is really going on, all you have to do is listen to yourself and listen to your core and be very still and very quiet. You already know, you know. You need to trust what's there. There is a manipulator in your midst. Definitely, 100%. You do have the Knight of Cups coming in sideways. The Knight of Cups is Venus and Pisces energy. And, it's an offer. A decision about an offer, because it is a sideways card. So you have a decision to make about an offer that's coming in. There is a third party involved. There is a manipulation involved. Be very careful with this, because the following card here is the Three of Swords. And there you go. It has come up again. When something comes up 2 or 3 times in a reading, you should really take heed. Definitely, because you have the Three of Swords twice, and you have the Lovers 3 times. Okay. The Three of Swords, a pain, right? I mean, there's just no getting around it. A pain involving 3 people, or it could be 3 separate issues that are going on. Broken trust in something or someone. I know for me, I mean, this is just an example I'm throwing out there. I lost my faith in the justice system a very long time ago. So it could be something like that. It could be, you lost your faith in a human being. A person really, really did a number on you. You believed in them and they really hurt you. It could be a friendship. Honestly, it could very well be a friendship. It could be a family member. It definitely could be a relationship too. So keep all that in mind here, Aquarius. When we add this up and we break it down, we get Mercury energy, which is Gemini energy again. I mean, it is Virgo energy too, but my God, but it is communication. There could be a communication that comes in that is sort of upsetting you, that involves a third party, an outside influence of some kind. It is an outside influence. Okay, so let's move on to your second leg here. You have the North Node, which is your cosmic purpose. So let's see. You have card number 1. I like this. You have the King of Cups coming in. Most people believe this is Sun in, I got wax on this card before when I was changing candles, but so most people believe this card to be Sun in Scorpio. Some people say Sun in Pisces. It really depends on the deck. And this deck, I would say it's Sun in Scorpio. But aside from all that, this is a very balanced and emotionally available person, male or female, who is good counsel and a very caring and sweet person. And right next to the High Priestess here. Okay. So that is a really nice energy to have around you. However, your center card, and remember I said there is a manipulator in your midst, you also have the King of Wands coming in reverse. And that is your center card. This is a sun in Leo, an arrogant, aggressive person. This aggression can come out verbally or otherwise. A very manipulative human being, a very controlling human being, male or female, okay? Not nice. And, you know, you're dealing with two different kinds of people here, two different human beings, male or female, very supportive, sweet, wonderful person. And then you have the King of Wands in reverse. Wow. And you have the Knight of Swords in reverse coming in right after that. Knight of Swords in reverse is Uranus and Gemini energy. You may be slowing down. You know the Knight of Swords is the fastest moving knight in the deck. He draws a sword and he goes forth and he doesn't think twice and he's like, yes. But, you know, when he's in reverse, at least in my readings, slowing down, maybe even coming to a halt, trying to figure out maybe what your purpose is now, right? Where you belong. Where do you want to be? Something may have happened to throw you for a loop here, Aquarius, something that made you very imbalanced. You do have some support here. I'm not going to lie. I mean, the support is really, really nice, but there is something else going on here. And what's interesting is when we add this leg up and we break it down, we get ground zero. So you're building from the bottom up. You're coming to some sort of conclusion about something and starting something new. You're looking at what your purpose is. Where do I belong? Where is home? Okay, let's look at your last leg here. I had a dog emergency, of course. Happens at least once. You have distance, retreat, or time out. Let's see what this is about here, Aquarius. You have your first card. Wow, I love this for you. You have the Magician coming in the upright. And here you remember when I said you're going to have to make a decision. Do you want him to be upright or in reverse? Well, I think you've made it here, Aquarius. You've made that decision. And you are going to pull out all the stops. You're going to step into your own power. You turned it right side up. And what's interesting too here, Aquarius, think about this lineup you have going. You have the High Priestess, right? You have the King of Cups, and right next to the King of Cups, you have the Magician. So you have the High Priestess, which is your intuition, listening to what's going on inside. The King of Cups, which is the outside support. And the Magician, which is that manifestation energy. You're picking up your tools and you're manifesting. And it's manifesting all positive things. And that's good. There is something else going on here, though. There definitely is. You have here for your second card. Let me put this down. Here's your Lovers again, right? Your Lovers coming in sideways. Just like over here, but I'm going to try not to jump ahead. But you have the Lovers. Now, obviously Gemini energy, a choice that needs to be made, a person that is wonky, that is sideways, that is imbalanced, a situation that you have to make a serious decision about. You have the Knight of Cups right next to the King of Wands in reverse, and right next to it, the Lovers sideways. Choose wisely, right? There is a timeout that needs to be taken here. There is an offer that comes in, manipulating energy, and the Lovers is right next to it. Be careful, Aquarius, okay? You have here, and what I love, love, love about this reading is that your very last card is the Six of Wands. This is one of my favorite cards in the deck. Jupiter and Leo in its upright, most perfect form. And it is the card of success, right? You have the Three of Swords, which is that pain we discussed, right next to the Knight of Swords, which is you slowing down, saying, grinding halt, let me rethink this, to success. So this is the retreat that we talked about. You are taking a step back, and I think that's a very positive thing. Stepping back, stopping dead in your tracks to really rethink everything. When we add this column up and we break it down, we get Uranus energy. Aquarius, that is your ruling planet, along with Saturn, but that is your real ruling planet. It's unexpected change. So there is something unexpected that is going on. We talked about this. It says unexpected. There is unexpected things going on this month. No doubt. No doubt. It is a very magical leg, though. Now let's look at the challenges. I mean, we got a taste of your challenges already. They were not, didn't look easy, but your challenges here, you're going to find it difficult to stay stable and in the flow. We talked about that a little bit, you know. Rein in those emotions, Aquarius. You may be feeling very emotional about what is going to happen. Your job is to remain stable and rein them in. Now you have two aces as challenges here. Look at that. And they're in the upright, right? You have the Ace of Cups, which is pure water energy, and that is pure emotion, right? Keeping your emotions in check, keeping your fire in check, keeping your anger in check, perhaps. Yeah, because you have that pure fire energy. And you also have the Five of Pentacles, and that really doesn't surprise me here, right? That is a card of abandonment, isolation, loss, struggle. It could be money because there are pentacles on that card, but this reading suggests that for many of you, not all of you, but for many of you, this isolation may be emotional in nature. You feel emotionally isolated, you feel abandoned, you feel left out in the cold. That is how you feel during this time. You are conflicted because there are good things happening for you here, Aquarius. But there is this other thing, right? And when we add this up and we break it down, we get Neptune energy, Piscean energy, disillusionment. You're dropping the rose-colored glasses and you're seeing something very, very clearly. Okay, now let's look at our opportunities. This is the column I really like. Now what's interesting here is your opportunities, many of them, as you can see, are coming in sideways, but we'll get to that in a second. But you have these three cards. One of them is regret. So there is something that you're going to be in your feels about this month, but it is in your opportunity column. And that means that, yes, it's going to be painful. Yes, it's going to be disappointing. You're going to be conflicted. However, it's an opportunity because you're going to have the opportunity for something else. You really are. I mean, it says celebration. I mean, listen, I pulled these cards months ago. It's not like, you know, Spirit is trying to force you to see something you haven't been seeing the right way. Okay. You're going to be receiving messages. It says messages in your dreams. That certainly could be true for some of you, but you're going to be receiving messages in general from Spirit. Spirit is going to be forcing you to see things for what they really are, because this is divine intervention, Aquarius, right? Your cosmic purpose. You're definitely going to be, it's going to be a difficult month in many respects, but it's going to be a month of growth. Once you get past this, it's going to be, well, it's my feeling that it's going to be really, really good for you. But man, it looks like a mixed bag of nuts, right? Because here you have death coming in sideways. You have a Scorpio energy. Something's dying. Something's dying and something is being born. That is what we said over and over again, because you have Scorpion energy here as well. You also have the Lovers coming in sideways yet again. Gemini energy. And there is that manipulative energy. But I have to tell you, it's a choice. So you have these two choices to make. And you have to figure out what's good for you. Because look at this. All major arcana in your opportunities column. This is an important month for choices. You could choose to stay in situations that are just not good for you, or you could perhaps move into a whole different realm here, Aquarius. So you have the Death and Lovers coming in sideways as choices. Decisions on how you look at things, decisions on how you interpret things, decisions on what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. You have the Chariot coming in here in reverse, and it's kind of like a much stronger version of that, Knight of Swords in reverse, right? Remember I said it's coming to a grinding halt? Wait. Now I'm waiting to figure out what the hell I want. Now I'm waiting to try to interpret what the hell's going on. I'm not going to forge ahead unless I know. And I like that for you. Normally in reverse, it's but in your opportunities column, it is a very, very good thing. It is necessary. It is necessary, this Cancer energy here. We add this up and we break it down. We get Saturn. That's your other ruling planet, right? Capricorn, Aquarius energy. Lessons. Unfortunately, you, my friend, are in the middle of lessons. And I too am an Aquarius, so I get it. I don't know what this is about yet, but we do know that this is going to be the year of lessons, rebirth, and all that stuff. For Aquarius, please, for June 2025, we have 555. A major shift is about to come into your life experience and change your path's direction. What did we say? We said that about the detours, right, Aquarius? Be open and stay positive. I am optimistic. That should be your mantra this month. 555. And it's very interesting to note that the number 5 is directly related to planet Mercury, which is directly related to Gemini. So there could be a very big communication month as well, along with very big decisions, right? It doesn't have to be a Gemini per se. It also, like I said, and it makes a lot of sense, could be Gemini season that this is all going to happen, which makes perfect sense. So just keep that Gemini energy in the back of your mind. Now, we look at the total. When we add all the numbers up in this reading and we break them down, we get the number 7, which is Neptune energy. And that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It's confusion, illusion, disillusionment, right? What we talked about. The number that we talked about the most, no surprise, was the number 5, right? It is that Gemini, Virgo / Mercury energy for all the reasons we already said. The signs we discussed were Aquarius, Gemini, Aries, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Leo, Pisces, Virgo, Libra, Taurus, Cancer, and Capricorn. The two signs that it's so weird. The two signs that came up the most was Gemini and Aquarius. So you do the math on that. The one planet that came out the most, believe it or not, was Venus. And Venus is Libra Taurus energy, but it rules our career and our money, and it obviously rules our love life. So yeah, Aquarius, for sure. I am being called to pull another card for us / you. Let me see if I could find the card. Where is it? Hold on one second, Aquarius. And I'll just take this deck here. Let me give this a quick shuffle, Aquarius. For Aquarius for June 2025. I love this for you. Blessings. Your angels are with you and guiding you to your blessings. Do not lose hope. Know that you are heavily protected. Beautiful energy, Aquarius. I wish you nothing but the best. Tune in later this month for your summer reading. It's going to cover 3 months. Namaste.